Hello students, it's now time to look at part 2 of your final project. This is where you are writing Article 1 of your new Constitution and creating the legislative branch. And in the United States, our legislative branch is embodied by Congress, which is made up of the House of Representatives and the Senate. And these are the representatives of the people, so it epitomizes the heart of democracy. So for your Article 1, you need to set it up similar to how the U.S. Constitution has Article 1 set up. And we have a link for you right here, Article 1 of the U.S. Constitution, and it takes you to this website. And you can see it has our Constitution and Article 1. And this gives a description of it. This part is not part of the Constitution. This is a note from the website. But you can see it has the Section 1, Section 2, Section 3. So that is how your Constitution needs to be set up. Your Article 1 needs to be broken into distinct sections that are labeled. And then for each of your sections, you need to have different sets of information. So the first one is a description of how the legislative branch would be structured. This is where you're going to say, is it one house? Is it two houses? Is it three houses? And what the name of each part of your legislature is going to be. Section 2 is going to be a description of the qualifications of each member of the legislature branch and how they would be chosen. So how are they elected? Is it a direct election? Is there a nominating committee? What are the requirements to be a member of your legislature? The third section is a description of the term of office. So how long will each member serve? The fourth section is an elaboration of how the pay or compensation of a legislative member would be determined. And then the fifth section is an elaboration of the powers and duties of the legislative branch. So those are the general guidelines. Then Section 2, you have some more specific questions to help you think about what you want to have there. So, like I said, the first one, how is it going to be structured? One house, two houses, and then what do you call them? How are they going to be chosen? The term of office. These are all the things you need to think about as you're setting up your legislature. Are they going to be paid? And if so, how are you going to determine the pay? And then what are the powers and duties of the branch? Then the next part, along with your Article 1, you need to write a paragraph explaining why you chose the structure you did and how your legislature is similar or different to the United States, and compare it to the Article 1 of our Constitution and your Constitution. So there's two distinct parts you need to have in this paragraph. You need to have why you did what you did and how it is similar or different to the United States. And again, remember, a paragraph is a minimum of 7 to 10 sentences. Then you need to provide at least 2 sources from the internet where you obtained your information. You need to name the websites and the website addresses. And you need to use the specific URL to the pages you used. Don't just tell me history.com. That's not good enough because there's so much information on history.com. I don't know which page you used. So the specific site and the specific URL. Then to submit your project, you need to submit it as a PDF file. No matter what word processing program you use, there is always an option to save it as a PDF. You need to do that. If you are using Google Docs, you may submit the link to your document. However, make sure you have the sharing settings set so that anyone with the link can view it. Then we have some additional resources to help you with this section. And then here's the marking guide. So, first part, did you write Article 1 with 5 sections? That's 5 points. Did you include the 5 sections that were required with the information? Then you have your paragraph that explained why you did what you did and how it's similar or different. Your document follows correct conventions in grammar, structure, and spelling. So is it set up in the distinct sections? Are your words spelled correctly? Are they capitalized? Did you use proper grammar? Do you have periods at the end of sentences? These are things we are looking for. And then you included at least 2 sources of information naming the websites and the website addresses. Now, some of you might want to see an example, and I do have one. This time, it is not a perfect example. As you can see here, the student forgot to name it for her country, or his country. His or her country is named Zatoria Arzatowska, and should have had that here instead of U.S. Constitution. But the things the student did well, they had each section labeled. I've highlighted it, and you notice it's a section 1, section 2. And you can see in section 1, they decided to have 2 houses, the Aracilio and Nobilium houses, and discusses that they have that. Then it talks about who's in them, the served terms. And there is a little spelling error there. Should have been section 4 instead of second, but the structure is there. It talks about the elections and how they're chosen. Section 5 talks about the pay. And then section 6 talks about the duties. This student included 6 sections. That is fine. Remember, 5 is the minimum. Then the student wrote a very detailed summary. This first half talks about why he or she chose what they chose. This last section compares and contrasts it to the United States. If you do not have this section, you are not going to earn full points. Then you can see this student did not include the name of the websites he or she used. So this student did not earn full credit for the sources. He or she did have 4 sources, and so they had the right number and they did have the specific URL, but he or she did not earn full points because they did not include the name. Now, I hope this video and example have given you some more guidance on how to be successful with part 2 of the final project, writing Article 1 of your Constitution. And as always, if you have any questions, contact your teacher so that he or she may provide you with additional guidance.